This podcast is dedicated to Mac Dre. His biological name was Andre Hicks. He was born on the 5th of July, 1970. He was 34 years of age when he was killed. He would be 50 years old today if he was still alive. Now, Mac Dre, he rapped about heists and bank robberies, but he actually lived what he rapped about. Mac Dre and his crew, they were eventually caught for their bank robberies and prosecuted. Various members of his crew got different jail sentences. Mac Dre was actually featured on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. When he was caught, he was actually awaiting trial, and he managed to record an album called Back in the Hood. While being in jail, he pulled off what most rappers would struggle doing, but he managed to record an album. Mac Dre had a right-hand man and rap partner, Jay Diggs, who's still around in the rap scene and actually prominent on social media. Mac Dre and his crew, they were all convicted and sentenced to various jail terms. But Mac Dre was eventually released from federal prison in 1999. And when he got out, he started an incredible movement called hyphy. And this dominated music for quite a few years. It was considered a subgenre. And though hyphy has died out now, it was a big thing. When it came out, it was a big movement. I still remember it. You know, the younger generation probably don't remember it, but hyphy was the thing back in '99. It's sad that, you know, this artist had his life cut short, because he was, the impact he made on hip hop in such a short time was incredible. Now, he had a 5-year run once he was released from prison, before he was killed in the early morning hours in Kansas City. That was back in 2004. Now, there's a lot of mystery and intrigue that surrounds his death. But for a lot of people in the rap industry, we know what really happened. So hours before the show, Mac Dre, Keek the Sneak, The Jacker, Messy Marv, and Yuck Mouth were all performing at a neighbouring city. Now, this neighbouring city was Kansas City. Now, to give you a rundown of who's still around, Mac Mall was also there that night. Yuck Mouth, he quit the music scene, but he was around that night. Messy Marv has actually just made his comeback now. The Jacker was unfortunately killed. I'm going to do another podcast on the Jacker. Keek the Sneak, he was gunned down but managed to survive his horrific injuries and is wheelchair bound, but he's still around, but he did survive the odds. It was incredible what happened to Keek. But Keek is still alive. Mac Mall is still around, though not really as active as what he was on the music scene. And Mac Dre, being the unfortunate victim in everything. But what happened was, he got into a heated argument with a promoter of the show that he was at. And there was a few blows that night. Keek the Sneak and Mac Mall almost came to blows. A lot of people knew that were going to be trouble, a lot of these artists, and nearly everyone decided to bounce that night because there was just nothing good happening that night. There was conflict and arguments with everyone. Mac Dre managed to get in the promoter's face and a few other people's face, and he upset a guy named Fat Tone. Now, Fat Tone was 24 years old, but Fat Tone was a gangbanger, he was a hitman, and, you know, he felt really disrespected by Mac Dre, and word was getting around that Mac Dre was in trouble that night, and so were some of the others. So Yuck Mouth, Mac Mall, and all the other rappers decided to bounce because they knew that shit was going to go down. Mac Dre decided to stand firm. He wasn't being intimidated by anyone. He didn't give a shit about the rumors. Fat Tone was getting his henchmen ready to basically either injure or kill Mac Dre. And it was all over what Fat Tone felt was disrespect. But he also put the word out that, he was going to get revenge for Mac Dre being disrespectful. Now, they followed Mac Dre, Fat Tone and his crew, when Mac Dre was headed northbound on the I-49 highway. One occupant from the assailant's car opened fire with an assault rifle when they saw their opportunity, and the car was peppered with bullets. Mac Dre was, they believed, killed instantly. Mac Dre was found thrown from the car, so they found his body. So, the driver crashed the car. Someone managed to escape and ring help. But Fat Tone, he was a powerful gangster, and he was aligned with the Crips and had a lot of power and did not want to be disrespected by Mac Dre. And Mac Dre was throwing his weight around the night of the show. Whether the thing that no one knows is who actually fired the gun that killed Mac Dre. Fat Tone was in the car with a few of his crew, but whether he fired the rifle that killed Mac Dre, no one knows that. However, basically what happened was Mac Dre's closest friends got revenge for Mac Dre's death. So they knew it was Fat Tone. People in closed circles knew it was Fat Tone. So Mac Minister and another rapper named Cole Leone lured Fat Tone out sometime in 2005. They promised Fat Tone the chance of meeting Snoop Dogg. Now, from what I've heard, everyone that was in the car that night that was responsible for Mac Dre's demise, they're all gone now. So there's no one left from that vehicle. But basically, Fat Tone was murdered by Mac Minister and Cole Leone. Mac Minister went on the run for a good year. He even recorded on the Game's album, The Doctor's Advocate. He recorded the intro for that album while on the run. And then he was caught not long after that and jailed and prosecuted for the crime of killing Fat Tone. And Cole Leone and Mac Minister are actually serving life sentences for that murder. And that sparked a huge war. There were multiple fatalities, massive falling out between rival sets, and it sparked a series of events. It was like one of probably the worst times in Kansas City and surrounding cities. That the violence spiraled out of control after that because it kicked off something greater. And Fat Tone's crew retaliated for his murder, and then retaliations just kept going back and forth. Now, this is what happened, even though the police never were able to prove anything. Everyone that's involved, is basically gone now. The rest are languishing in prison. And, Mac Dre's influence is kind of, it's sad, but it's dissipated. Everyone seems to have forgotten the hyphy movement. Though some aspects of it still exist, I guess, in some shape or form. But, for anyone that was around at that time will know exactly what impact Mac Dre had on the rap game. And it was sad that Mac Dre's life was cut short all over a heated argument. It should never have happened. And there's still rappers out there that, know what happened and know the whole story, like, Yuckmouth and Mac and, it's a theme that's all too common in hip hop, and it's sad, but, rest in peace, Cuddy, Mac Dre, the legend. Hyphy lives on. I'm MC Rapology, giving you this podcast. Peace.